Good evening, guys. Thanks for joining me here in my humble abode, my office inside my home. My name is Megan James, and I own Legacy Lifestyle Coaching. I've brought to you today some topics that have come up. I'm working with a team of people right now, and many of them are entrepreneurs, so they're trying to do things like building businesses. They're trying to get their name out there. They're trying to network marketing, and they're doing all these unique things, and they're unique for them because they're employees. So they're coming from an employee world. Most of them aren't entrepreneurs by nature. They didn't start out that way, okay? So they have a bunch of questions. You know, what things should I be doing differently? What are some tools that I could use to help me? And I got to thinking, I was like, I've been getting these questions a lot, and I really should probably put this out there for more people. So that's what today's about. And I kind of want to start by just saying this is a subject that hits pretty close to home for me. I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to talk about it because of my background. So many of you don't know, I was actually homeschooled my whole life until high school. The only reason I went to high school was to play soccer. I legitimately went to high school because I wanted to play soccer. I thought maybe I could get the chance to get scouted and go to a university and play for them, which I quickly changed my mind because I realized that was a full-time job, and I already had 2 jobs in college, so I wasn't sold out to soccer as other people were. But before all that, when I was still homeschooled, I actually sold Avon. I was about 10 years old and I sold Avon. I won tons of awards, and I was really good at selling things. I don't know how in the world, but I created a business at an early age. I know I was like 9 or 10 and kept it for years and did very well at it. And as I got older, between balancing sports, I played basketball, soccer, softball. I was in martial arts. I was just always really, really, really busy. So I had to kind of pick and choose what I wanted to focus on. After that, I developed other businesses throughout. When I got out of college and everything like that, I got involved in some, MLMs, multi-level marketing. I made some money at that. I've never really been one that likes to sell. I do what I got to do when I got to do it right. I have a goal I want to accomplish, so there was a time I needed to sell something to make some money. When I was young, when I was a kid, I was 10 years old, my savings account was $800, and that was money I made. That wasn't like, my family saying, oh, you made an A in whatever subject, here's some money. They weren't just handing me money. They weren't giving me money to do things. It was, I did my chores and everything like that, and I might get an allowance every now and then for that, but not like some kids these days, like $100 a week for mowing the grass. No, not a chance. I worked for my dad for his business, and I just really learned what it was like to own a company, seeing him work in his business as a self-employed man, owning a painting business, just seeing all the things he had to go through, from quoting a site, measurements, to all the prep work and painting, and just all the stuff that goes into it. I really learned how to operate a business. And then when taxes came, my mom, being like the accountant bookkeeper, kind of showed me what went into that. So I've got the unique perspective of both there. And because I was homeschooled, I grew up knowing early on that if I got all of my work done for the whole day, my actual schoolwork and my homework, if I got everything done before noon, the rest of the day was mine to do whatever I want. If I want to play outside, want to go over to a friend's house who was also homeschooled, whatever the case was, it was my day. And I had full control of my calendar. My life was not regulated by bells. That meant everything to me. And as soon as I figured that out, which was pretty early on, I took full advantage of that. And because of that work ethic, when I went into high school, I was actually 2 grades ahead in most subjects. I didn't move up because I want to stay at that same grade level, because I was not as good and talented in math. So I want to make sure I did my math courses. But I learned how to get the stuff that you don't want to do out of the way early in the day. So you get those accomplishments out of the way early, you can do whatever you want to do after that, and that's fine. That's how you can control your calendar. I didn't have anyone tell me that. That was just something I came to terms with, because I was like, one day I walked in, I was like, all right, Mom, done with A, B, C, and D. It was just, I finished it early that day. I said, what next? She's like, well, you're done. Go play if you want. Do whatever you want. And when I figured out that that could be every day, oh, I woke up in my pajamas, laid it all out, did all my work, done. So I brought that into my professional life, and that's how I made it through college. I got through this university, diagnosed with a learning disability, got 2 bachelors, graduated with over, it was like 3.02 GPA, was in a honor society, had 2 jobs the whole time. I just really worked my butt off and got there. But it was from what I learned early on in my life. And I'm hoping that by having this open communication between me and you guys, that I can kind of give you the stuff that I've learned in my life that's helped me and transferred over into other atmospheres. Okay, so I talk about having numerous jobs in college, and one of them was a bartender. So I figured out that I could make more in a shift bartending than many times I could all week at a 9 to 5. So like one shift, you're bartending, you're working with other bartenders, so you may only get 2 shifts a week, right? But those 2 shifts can carry you over 2 weeks, depending on where you work, how good a bartender you are. If you ever went to bartending school, which I did. I'm one of these people, when I research things, when I find something I want to do, I research it, I take courses on it, I read on it, I ask people who are in the industry, I talk to them. That's how I learn. So that already put me ahead of the game when I went into bartending, and I started getting more shifts, and when they realized that I work quickly, I have a hard work ethic, and I can talk. So I'm able to please more people, which got me more tips. So I was head bartender after a short amount of time. I was training people, was doing a lot of things. I had a lot of responsibilities, but it worked out for me in my favor. So I did all these things going through college, and I started realizing what it was going to take to be successful. And I've always been very hungry to learn. I think that's one of the things you have to really be an entrepreneur. You can never one day wake up and say, I know it all. I mean, Warren Buffett to this day still reads like a book a day. He's not ever woke up and been like, I'm worth $82 billion. I can just stop. And I don't think he ever will. So I think one of the things to start out with, I've actually made a list. I compiled a list for you guys. 1, you have to be willing to spend money to make money. Oh boy. Okay. That does not mean go invest your life savings, your college fund, whatever, in Forex or day trading or whatever the case is right off the bat without doing any research. You're like, oh, well, Billy Bob over here, man, he quit his job working for the city to go play with stocks because he's really good at that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my whole 401k and throw it into this stock thing and see what happens. That's called gambling. We don't want to do that. What I'm talking about is if you are developing a company. And I use this as an example. You've got online retail. Maybe you are a t-shirt provider. You have a t-shirt machine. You make the icons on the shirt and you sell them. You need a website for this online retail. Okay. You also will need a trademark. You need to apply for the trademark, and you'll want to trademark your business name and your icon as well. You'll want the machine press itself. You'll obviously want to buy shirts, ink, whatever else it takes to run that specific business. I don't know. I don't have that business, but just as an example, you're going to have some upfront costs, right? Some startup costs. Which means, after calculating A through D up, maybe, I'm just guessing, maybe it's 10 grand. How bad do you want that business? Because if you think that you can, maybe your startup cost is 3 grand, and you're like, that's a lot of freaking money. Yep, it is. You're like, I don't have 3 grand, but I have a credit card, okay? Do you want to put yourself 3 grand in the hole? Are you positive that you're going to be able to commit to this business to make that $3,000 back in a third of the time? That's a you question. All day long. That's a, are you committed to this? Startup costs will determine how committed you are to an idea. And as you go along, you'll start to find that maintenance for the equipment and things like that. Like, as an example for me right now, I've got to buy a new MacBook, because the last time I bought a MacBook was in 2009 and it was refurbished. So it's doing great. It's still kicking. It's speedy, but when it comes to digital media, it hasn't had an update since 2012 because it no longer updates. So that's something I have to do on my end. That's going to be a cost. It's something I have to invest in. But I know that if I don't make that investment, I'm not going to make any more money doing digital media. So it's a give and take. But you have to be willing to make that decision. You know, if this is your business, this is what you want to do, you have to be willing to invest your money in that business to get money. Now, number 2, speaking of investments, you always have to be willing to invest in yourself. Always. And by that, I just mean, even if it's breaking even. So maybe you have you've sold all these products this year and you've got $300 in profit. It's not a lot, but it's $300 in profit. You could take $300 and go to the bank and deposit it. But then you see that there's this class that'll give you more business principles like website development, app development, networking, building your brand, things like that, and it's only $300. You made a $300 profit. At this point, it would be wiser to invest in yourself so you can get further ahead in your business. So next year you're not making $300, you're making $600, because if you just put that in the bank and go on about your business, you're going to keep making the same mistakes. You're going to keep getting the same results that you've been getting. So if you don't like only making $300 in profit, you need to get some more training, some more education. So this class could help you. So invest in yourself, even if it means just breaking even, basically. That includes everything from taking classes, reading books, listening to podcasts, doing research. You know, if you find books that you identify with in business, read the autobiographies of the authors. You can learn a lot about their daily habits. You can learn a lot about what they did to get there, their mindset changes and shifts, and even what kind of part-time jobs they took to supply the money while they built their business. Make sure you're going to conferences. You know, if you're building a life coaching business, there's life coaching conferences. If you're building a business where you teach golf to people, you're self-employed and you want to teach golfers how to golf, well, I'm sure there's conferences for that too. There's pretty much a conference for every kind of group out there. Any kind of profession that you can imagine, it's got a conference to go to. Invest in those things. You can learn a lot. You can also build a massive network from these conferences. You meet all kinds of people from all over the globe, suppliers, people who are doing the same things you are, all kinds of things, and they can really help you grow your business. The faster you grow or learn and apply what you've learned, action, the faster you'll find success in that field. So don't get caught up in the details. This was a huge thing for me. It was very difficult to overcome. I'm a researcher, so when there's something I want to do, I have a habit of spending all this time reading 700-page books and watching videos on YouTube and listening to podcasts, and then I won't act because I still feel like I haven't mastered the concept. But the point is, learn enough to get you going, to get you started, and keep learning as you go. Jump in. Jump. The whole point of this is that you jump. Don't keep falling back on your research as an excuse not to do the thing that needs to be done. That being said, keep learning, keep growing, but just don't use that as a fallback for why you're not acting. Because the only way you get success is when you're growing and learning and acting on that. 4, be willing to drive the miles. So say there's a conference in Chicago, you live in Atlanta, be willing to fly. Be willing to hop on a plane. If you can't get a plane, be willing to drive, If you've got a client-based business, be willing to drive to your clients. It's just common sense stuff, but a lot of people will use gas mileage as a reason not to do something. And I understand if you're broke, you don't have the money, figure out what means more. What's going to be more important now. 5, be hungry to learn more. So I talked about I've always been hungry. I've always had this thirst for knowledge since a young age. You have to develop that. You may not be born with it, but you have to develop that. If you're truly interested in building this business or in this field or whatever it is, it can be fly fishing. It can be highway cleanups, building, restoring vintage cars. You have to go in with a thirst for knowledge. You are up late reading at night. You are waking up early to read more. I mean, you're going all in, learning from all different types of people. You have to be hungry for knowledge and keep that. Number 6, develop time management practices. Control your calendar. I recorded a whole video on this. Feel free to go watch that for more in-depth information. But that's basically just don't let anybody manipulate your time. You have an appointment calendar. Use those appointment slots for things that need to be done. And it could be something as simple as you need to stay in the gate for your house, or you need to, haul off recycling or trash, or take things to a consignment store, or it could be stuff for your business. Appointment with Todd. Help Bob with his website. And each of these people, you don't put down 9 o'clock, meet Bob, and at 12 o'clock you're still meeting with Bob. No, Bob gets a set time slot. So when you text Bob, you say, I can meet you from 9 to 10. I have a slot 9 to 10. That's it. Give them windows of opportunity, windows of time, so they know to bring an agenda to that meeting. So they just sit there and shoot the breeze. Nothing's going to get done. It's going to be a waste of time, and it's going to be a waste of money for them. I've got more tips and tricks on how to control the calendar. Just go watch the video for more information. It's on the same channel. Number 7, be willing to ask for help. So that includes your mentors, your coaches, whether they're life coaches or business coaches, people working in the field you're in, collaborators, investors, psychologists, because shit gets tough sometimes, okay? I'm going to do another video on this later on, but mental health has a stigma in the society, and people have a habit of downing people who go to therapist or psychiatrist or whatever the case is. But the thing is, just going to a therapist doesn't mean you have some sort of bad mental health. A lot of people go for stress management techniques, for meditation techniques, for family counseling. If your parents piss you off and you don't know how to react without blowing up on them, maybe you should go seek a therapist about some family counseling. They're not just marriage counselors. All kinds of stuff. If you have a hard time with bottling shit up, like something makes you mad and you just want to blow up, but you can't do that, so you just kind of hold it all in. You never tell anybody what's wrong, and then it takes like the slightest thing and you explode. Worthy of a therapist. And people are like, oh, that sounds like a crazy person. You'd be surprised at the number of people that you're going to work with that do that. And it's not that they have anger issues or that they're bipolar or crazy or anything like that. They've just got a stigma against dealing with their emotions and talking things out and things like that. They don't want to burden anybody. So you have to be open and accepting to people going to these things, but you have to be open and accepting to that as well. I think everybody should see a therapist in their life at some point. Whether you think you have problems or not, it's always good to get an objective opinion from someone. It's always good to sit down and say, this is where I've been in my life. This is where I got to. This is where I want to go. Is there anything I can be doing better? Or is there other stuff I need to work on? How's my communication? Whatever the case is, it's nice to sit down with a third party who's objective and just really talk through your stuff. You won't burden your spouse or your family members. You can still talk to them, but you're no longer like exploding on them because you're getting this stuff out of your system with somebody else. So yeah, just talk to people who are in that field. Conferences are an excellent opportunity. You meet people who are succeeding at a high level in what you're doing. Great. Hit them up, see what they're doing differently. See if it's duplicatable. So 8, set time-bound achievable goals. They're chunked down into smaller, doable tasks. I talk about in the video about controlling your calendar, I talk about I don't make to-do lists because I get carried away and I'll make a to-do list this long for one day and it's ridiculous. I'll pick one big goal and chunk it down into 3 small things and get that done that day. The 3 small things. And that gets me closer to accomplishing my goal. Just make sure you're not setting a massive goal with too short a time period, or it's not defined. There's steps to get to every goal. There's little things you have to do to get you there. So make sure you're paying attention to those, and you're putting priority on those in your calendar. 9, listen to your gut. I wish I could tell you how many times this has helped me in my life, not just with jobs and careers, but just in general. Things that have kept me out of trouble, things that have kept me from saying something I shouldn't. Just if your gut tells you this doesn't feel right, then don't do it. If it's, I don't know, if you get a job offer, everyone's had this. You get a job offer from someone, you're like, I don't know if I'd like working there. You can't pinpoint what it is. You don't know if it's just the person you talk with or just what they do. But you're like, gosh, I don't know. If this is something I would like to do. The second your gut starts telling you that there might be some doubt there, this might not be a good option for you, listen to your gut. It's kept me out of a lot of sticky situations. Number 10, put yourself in challenging new situations. So the greatest things that you'll ever experience or will ever occur to you occur outside of your comfort zone. Comfort zone's a nice place to be, but nothing ever grows there. So the best things in life are on the other side of fear. It's a pretty common expression we see on social media today, but it's true. Most of the things that scare us are things that we need to get more comfortable doing. Afraid of heights, you start climbing rock walls, because you'll start to find an exhilaration, a clarity in your mind. If you've been afraid to build that business platform, just build it. Like I said, research, jump in. Hire a business coach on the way to kind of help you with the tough parts you don't have experience with yet. Just do it. Fear keeps you in a comfort zone. If you live in fear, you'll always live in a place of unhappiness. 11, look at your failures as lessons and your problems as opportunities. So obstacles are usually placed there to teach us something. I always say, whatever you believe in, whether it's source energy or God, they've placed whatever is going on in your life for a reason. To learn from it, to grow from it, to be better from it. 12, this is good, supplementation. So a balanced diet and physical activity every day are great, and they're vital to good mental health and for entrepreneurs, right? We want to make sure we're being active every day. I find my best clarity comes from running. I hate it. I haven't felt a runner's high in my whole life, and I've ran numerous miles. I just get to that point where it's like all the stress and anxiety clear out, and my thought process comes in. All of my creativity just kicks in. So I keep my phone with me so I can quickly type up what's going through my mind, all these new ideas and stuff like that. Exercise stimulates thought process and new ideas. The rest keeps you healthy. So if you're not sick all the time, you're probably active. If you are sick all the time, you're probably not active enough. It's a good rule of thumb to keep some moderate activity, exercise daily, keep your diet right. If it's not grown from the ground, it may not be healthy. Things like that. Just like get back to a healthy green diet. Make sure you're getting your veggies. Just common sense stuff that your mom told you when you were kids. Also do supplementation. So what I mean with that is not pounds of creatine and lifting weights every day and growling at people. I mean vitamins. It's taking vitamins, vitamin B, vitamin C, whatever it is. I'm not recommending that for everybody. I just mean, figure out what, talk with your doctor and about just some daily supplementation that can help boost your mental clarity, your immune system. Echinacea is great for that, but it's not something you take long term. As you feel a cold coming on, that kind of thing. Just make sure that you've got a preparation plan in place. Something you do daily, and then something if you start to feel like you might start getting sick. And on that, sleep. Sleep is number 13, because for me, this is a non-negotiable. Okay, when I'm constantly getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep, I'm worthless. I don't have any creativity. My thought process, everything just suffers. So when I first got into this MLM that I was in previously, everybody was like, oh, you're not a real entrepreneur if you're not losing sleep. get used to losing sleep. If you're not making money while you're sleeping, then you don't need sleep. You can work without sleep. That's a lie. People function at different levels, and people need different amounts of sleep. So it might be, I might need 7.5, 8 hours of sleep. You might need 4 hours of sleep. You're good. You might feel tired if you get more than 4 hours of sleep. Everyone's different. So you can't gauge, everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. No, there's people that can't get more than 6 hours of sleep or they're zombies for the rest of the day. It takes a different level of functioning for people. So for me, I have on my habit tracker, sleep 8 hours, and I that keeps me accountable. So when I'm like wanting to stay up late and watch a movie or something like that, I'm like, I gotta be up at 9 in the morning. If I stay up past this time, I won't be able to get my 8 hours. And that's why number 14 is track your habits. Okay, habit trackers hold me accountable for the things that I want to keep doing correctly, like no TV in the mornings, read 30 minutes in a book, listen to an audio or podcast, meditation, things like that. For some reason, and I create my own, so I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. But when I get to color in these squares, for some reason it's a sense of accomplishment. When I can see consistency across the board on some squares, it's just a feeling that you're like, yeah, I'm kicking butt. And you'll see some of these there's like 3 that are kind of blank, they're new. And so it takes a while to incorporate a new habit. So these are kind of new down here. But yeah, all across the board. So these are like the habits, and these aren't something that you should start with all at once. You don't start with like all 30 habits and expect them all to go great. You would start with like 3 habits and track them across the board, and you eventually add on. So I've been doing this since January of last year. I make this every month, and I check one off each day. I have found that holds me accountable. It gives me a sense of accomplishment when I'm like, yes, I did this today. I did that today. I spent 30 minutes working on my business's website, making it better. It also allows you to look back and see where you were. So when you start seeing these good changes in action or whatever in your business where you're just like, we're making massive amounts of money, go look at that habit tracker. Remember the month where you did completely crappy, and look at what you did that month. What was different? What had changed? And what has changed this month? Because you may think it's something in your business that's changed, but it may be something as simple as you slept more this month. You incorporated green tea in your diet. I don't know. But the habit trackers will tell you. And you can track things like green tea intake, which I do. I just want to see how different things in my diet affect my functioning levels. I also track if I log my food into my fitness pal and stuff like that. So basically the whole point of a habit tracker is just to start working on phasing out the bad habits by just not focusing on them and instead replacing them with the good habits that you want to focus more on for your growth and goals. So I have about 14 things. I didn't want this video to go too long. It's just ideas. If you're planning to be an entrepreneur, don't limit yourself to one person's thinking, okay? Like I said, the MLMs will tell you all kinds of stuff. You can only focus on one thing at a time, and it has to be this. That's not the case, okay? If anybody ever tries to limit what you're focusing on, if you have a passion for something that you can't stop thinking about, it keeps you up at night because all you can think about is making this grow. I had that. And it was one of those things, well, you're already doing this, you need to focus on this. Don't let somebody tell you that. These are your dreams, these are your goals, and if this is keeping you up at night, it may just help to get the idea out on paper, write it down, whatever, and you may not come back to it. And if that's the case, it was just an idea that popped in your head. So what I do is if I get something stuck in my head, I write it down. And if I don't think about it again, then it was just an idea and I'm going to leave it there. But if 2 days later I've got something to build on that, a week later I'm building on that, a week after that I'm starting to see equipment that I could use to do that. I'm starting to get ways to accomplish this in my head. There's a good chance that whatever idea this is integrated into whatever it is you're already doing. It's a split off, but it's all related. So you're not pursuing a different thing. It's part of the same thing. You can't be double-minded, but you can incorporate different facets of that business. So first and foremost, only take advice from the people that have the fruit on the tree that you want. If they have the results that you want, take advice from them. But if they're doing something that you don't really want to do, whether it's an MLM or just a business, or if they're employees, they have jobs, they have no businesses, and they're trying to give you advice on how to own a business, may not be the best source, okay? Trying to think of anything else. Just basically stickability. If you gave your university 4 years for a degree, hoping that you'd have a job when you got out and willing to go in debt up to thousands of dollars, do the same for your business. Do the same for your idea. If you've created this, you've put in the time and the work, and in a few months, give it 4 years of your life minimum, just because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long it's going to take for that thing to take off and flourish, right? It's your business. Do it the honor of giving it 4 years of your life, because the 4 years of your life may retire you. You may be able to quit that stinky job for that place you hate. Whatever. Just have some stickability, and have a thirst for more, for growth and thought process and learning. But as ever, if you guys have any questions, if you want me to talk about anything specific, anything that comes to mind that's related to businesses or life coaching, shoot me a message, email me. I'll put my email in the link. But yeah, just let me know. I love talking with people. I'm going to start doing interviews soon, and that's coming later. But I'm pretty excited for what this is boiling down to, and what this blog has the potential to be. So yeah, shoot me some comments, like it up, press that subscribe button in your bottom right hand corner. I look forward to talking with you guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye.